Now, when it comes to real estate, there are many things that documentation proves. It is through documentation, proper documentation, that you prove the owner of a property. It's documentation that proves the rights to possession. It's documentation that shows you the exact location of the property. So you see, when it comes to real estate, documentation is very key. And in today's video, I'm sharing 5 real estate documents that every sophisticated real estate investor who is serious about protecting their interest needs to know about. Trust me, you would really love watching this. Now, these are the 5 documents: deed of assignment, deed of conveyance, deed of sublease, a contract of sale, and a survey plan. Now, I'm sure that you might have heard 1 or 2 or 3 of these terms one time or the other, but in today's video I'll be sharing what each means, who drafts them, what they should contain, and what you need to know about them. So ensure that you stay till the end of this video so you get all the details that you need to make sure that you are armed with sufficient information for your real estate journey. Now, we'll start with the deed of assignment. And just as the name is, the deed of assignment is a deed that assigns ownership rights. It transfers ownership right. All right. So if I sell a property to you, you would have a deed of assignment through which I'm going to transfer my own ownership rights to you as required by law. It's very important that when you buy real estate, especially as a buyer, you get your lawyer to draft a deed of assignment for you, and it should be signed by both you, the buyer, and the seller, and your witnesses. Typically, your lawyer would guide you through the process of drafting the document, reviewing the document, and signing it. But without this, you don't own a property. If you don't have a document that expressly transfers title to you, it's very important. I actually have a more detailed video on this deed of assignment, and I'll leave the link to that video in the description box so you can watch it when you are done watching this video. Now, let's go to the second one, which is the deed of sublease. And like name means, it means that there's a lease and then someone is subleasing the property. Now, depending on the context, it is usually used to sublet property interest. So if someone has leased a property, all right, and then the person who leased the property wants to sublet it to another person, you can use that deed to sublet. You can use a deed of sublease to sublet it. Now, in some instances too, it is used to transfer the remaining terms of a right of occupancy. Now, typically, when you apply for a certificate of occupancy, the terms are included in that certificate of occupancy. And the certificate of occupancy could be seen as like a lease because you are giving rights over the land for 99 years. So it's for a certain period of time. It is not forever. Okay. So oftentimes when someone who has a C of O is then selling that land or the house on which they have a C of O to another person, the lawyer might use the word sublease. But what really determines what's the import of a document? It's the content. So what is inside it? You could see that in this instance, it could be a deed of sublease could be from someone who has leased a property, or could be from someone who has a certificate of occupancy and is subletting the remainder of their terms of a certificate of occupancy. So let's say, for instance, I have a C of O, that's certificate of occupancy on land, and then I develop it and then I sell it to you, and then maybe my C of O has 99 years, and maybe I've had the land for 5 years. So I would now be subletting the remainder of my rights under that C of O for the next 90. I've had it for 4 years, so for the rest 95 years to you. So I hope that analogy helps you to understand what a deed of sublease is. We also have a deed of conveyance, and is often similar to a deed. It's also to transfer ownership rights. Personally, I prefer to title my deed of assignment. All right, but in some instances we have situations where my colleagues could title it something else. What really, like I said, determines what type of deed is the content. Okay, so you will see that the 3 of them sound similar, especially when it's for you buying a property and they're transferring ownership to you. But whichever way, if you have a property or you have any of these documents, ensure that you have a property lawyer to draft them, or if you already have it already, ensure you get the property lawyer to review. And I get asked this question, oh Tosin, I'm buying a property from a company and they are drafting the deed of assignment. Do I need my own lawyer? Again, yes, you should, and I'll come to that shortly. So let's go to the fourth document, which is the contract of sale. And like the name implies, it's a document showing that a property has been sold. When it's for a property, when it's a contract of sale for a property, it means the property has been sold, or the process of selling has started but has not been completed, but it does not make you the owner. Okay, so in the contract of sale, there are no clauses transferring ownership of title, because when it comes to documentation, the courts would interpret a document strictly as it is on paper. So for the first 7 years of my practice, I was a litigator, and being a litigator means I go to court, I argue cases, real estate cases. I was involved in a lot of cases on lands in Lagos, Nigeria. And then it was in my experience, I saw the importance of proper documentation. Now, what could make a difference between someone winning a case and losing a case is oftentimes what they are proving by documentation is to have the proper documentation in place. So for instance, if you say you buy a property but all you have is a contract of sale, you do not have a deed of assignment or a deed of conveyance or a deed of sub-lease, you don't have a deed transferring ownership to you, you've paid for the property but you don't have ownership. So it's very key. All right, it's very important that we state that it doesn't transfer ownership rights. It only shows that money has exchanged hands for a certain property. Now, typically, when you are buying a property, let's say now you found a house you want to buy, the house is 450 million, and you say, okay, I have 200 million to deposit now, and then I'll spread the rest across 5 months. What happens is when you make that first deposit, if I'm acting for you as your lawyer, we would draft a contract of sale between you and the seller. So that contract of sale would include the details of the property. It would include all the terms, the amounts you want to pay, how you want to pay it. It would include an undertaking by the seller that once you complete, fulfill your own part of the obligation, which is once you complete payments, you would execute the necessary documents to transfer ownership to you. You know, it provides for default of payment. What happens if you default payment? What are the parties going to resort to? So you see, it's also a very important document, and you don't want to miss this, especially if you're buying and paying in installments. So oftentimes, if you're buying and you're not paying in installments, we may do without the contract of sale and just draft a deed of assignment for you. Although in practice, for me, at our law firm, we do both. Whether you are buying and paying outrightly, or you are buying and paying in installments, we do both the contract of sale and then we do the deed of assignment, just to be on the safer side. So I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, you can type them in the comment section as we go to the last document, which is the survey plan. Okay, now the survey plan shows the exact location of a property. If you've ever seen a survey plan, you will see that it has some numbers on it. It shows the location, it shows maybe the roads beside it. It's to show you the exact location, the boundaries of the particular property, and it is prepared by a surveyor, not a lawyer. Now, when you buy a property, even though the person who sold it to you had a survey plan, you should get your own survey plan in your name. When you buy a property, you get all your documents in your name. Because I have been asked questions like, oh Tosin, I want to buy a property and the seller has a deed of assignment, the seller has a survey, do I need my own? Yes, you need your own. Okay, so you get your own documents, and it's important that it's drafted in your name. So I have a video that talks about a checklist on buying a property. I will also leave the link below so you can take your time and watch, and you will understand better. Now, what happens when these deeds are poorly drafted? It will be rejected by court as proof of ownership. And personally, for me and for my law firm, we adopt a proactive approach to our practice of law, meaning that when we are working with you, we are looking at it that, okay, this brief we are working on, this document we are working on, if anything happens and you have to go to court, there's a dispute, you have to go to court, can it be accepted as proof of ownership? Because that's the ultimate test. If there's a dispute, you're going to go to court, right? Can it be accepted? If it cannot be accepted, then it does not work for the purpose. So it's very important that you make sure that you have a deed of assignment that is properly drafted, so you have peace of mind, is accepted in court, and you know that yes, barring any natural disaster, you won't have any issues. If there's any issues around ownership, or you have to approach the court for interpretation. And also let me state that if you have bought a property or you are buying a property, ensure to get a property lawyer, a lawyer who is versed in property law, to draft the deed for you. So the deed of assignment, like I said, this is typically what we do in our law firm. We use the term deed of assignment, okay? But get a lawyer who is versed in property law to draft it for you. If the other party is insisting on drafting, which sometimes happen, then you get a lawyer to review. But by all means, if you are working on a transaction and you need professionals, you engage your own professional. So don't leave it to say, oh, since the seller has their own lawyer or the seller has their own surveyor, I don't need my own professional. No, it's better to have people who are working solely for you, so that there's no conflict of interest. Because if a professional is working for both parties, there won't be conflict of interest. You might not get the best out of it. So it's better you have your own lawyer, you have your own surveyor to do these documentations for you, to advise you, and to walk you through the entire process. I hope this video has been helpful. Let me know in the comment section if it has been helpful, and let me quickly state that if you have questions also, feel free to type them in the comment section. Now, like I said, if a document has been drafted, a legal document, yes, all the documents we talked about today, except for the survey plan, are drafted by a lawyer. So if any of them is being drafted by the other party, or you probably even have one that you have already, but you've not had a lawyer review it, you want to ensure that a lawyer goes through. So the reviewing is to make sure that everything is in place and that there are no legal issues involved. All right, so if you need our services to draft a deed of assignment, and this is like a comprehensive real estate service that we offer: legal advisory, representation, and contract drafting, or you want it to be reviewed, you have a document that you need to be reviewed, you can check the link in the description below, and you can see how you can use our services. Here are some reviews from some of our clients. All right, so the name of my law firm is Caris Legal Practice. I head the team as Caris Legal Practice, and here are reviews from our Google My Business page from our clients, so you can be sure that you are in safe hands if you choose to work with us. All right, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. All right, bye bye.